Hey, everybody, welcome to YouTube. And how about NBA free agency? Wow. We are 2 hours in, and most of the big names are staying with their respective teams. Kyrie Irving, Draymond Green, Jeremy Grant, Kyle Kuzma, Chris Middleton for the Sacramento Kings, finalizing a deal with Chris Duarte from the Indiana Pacers, a 6'6 guard, very good first season. Kind of an injury-riddled second season, lost his playing time when he came back and was not nearly as effective. The Kings also with a 2-year deal with Trey Lyles. So that is good news. The other big news in the world of sports, and I told you this was going to happen months ago. ESPN laying off big name talent such as Jeff Van Gundy, Jalen Rose, Susie Colbert, Steve Young, Keyshawn Johnson, and many others unemployed thanks to the big contracts to Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. So that's where we're at right now. All right. The latest on NBA free agency. I've got two phones in front of me, got another laptop. We're ready to freaking roll. All right. We're ready to roll. What do you think about NBA free agency? You excited? What do you think? What about the Kings? What do you think what they did beginning last week when they traded the 24th pick and Rashawn Holmes to give them this flexibility, to keep Harrison Barnes, to keep Trey Lyles, to go out and get a Chris Duarte? What do you think? Do you like what they've done? Give me your thoughts. Hit me up on the chat line. And again, I'll be looking at my phone right here. Okay. There are still pieces to be signed. There's no question. Do I think the Kings are done making moves? No, I don't. All right. I don't. And I would say that there's nothing major that I think can happen with the Kings right now, as I'm looking up the latest here on, again, keeping up with the breaking news. The Kings still do need some help. They do need a backup big. You're absolutely correct. And I'm not so sure where they're going to get that individual from, but they do. They absolutely do need that. You have Harrison Barnes that's staying, Trey Lyles, but now what do? Where do you go out and get that individual? And who's available? All right. What's realistic in terms of getting that player? I mean, if you could get that individual, then it would be a hell of an offseason. Again, Kyrie Irving, 3 years, $126 million. Draymond, $100 million, 4 years. 5 years, Jeremy Grant, $160. Wow. Huh? Pretty amazing, isn't it? Think about the money that's going around. Think about the money that is going around. So what do you think? All right. Where you at right there with NBA free agency? What do you think? Are you so far happy with what you're seeing? Who's next? Who's next? Who's going to be next? All right. I don't think they're going to be able to get Christian Wood. I don't think that's realistic. Sea-Dog and Cody, both like Herb Jones. This is crazy, isn't it? I mean, we're 2 hours in. We're 2 hours in to NBA free agency. And you're right, the Jeremy Grant contract is ridiculous. 5 years, $160 million. Yeah, I think Brook Lopez is a possibility, although I'm hearing he's going to stay in Milwaukee. Unbelievable. Wow. Yeah, I think Sea-Dog's right on here. Any of those names would be great. I don't think there's any question there. Wow. Well, I don't know. If you looked at the Kings roster, it's pretty good right now. All right. They're it's pretty good right now. I like the Kings roster, and I don't think they're done, Michael. I don't think they're done. So I keep on, every time I refresh my phone, I'm seeing something new, and I'm like, wow, it's incredible to me. The first couple of hours of NBA free agency. So the latest, Shake Milton, 2 years, 10 million with Minnesota. Joe Ingles, 2-year, 22 million with Orlando. Gabe Vincent, 3 years, 33 million, LA Lakers. Trey Jones, 2 years, 20 million with the Spurs. Cameron Johnson, 4 years, okay? 4 years, $108 million to stay with the Nets. Good to be an NBA player, isn't it? Good to be an NBA player. Wow. They are definitely set, okay, with wings and forwards. I would agree with you there, All right, so good to have everybody here on this stream. And if you would not mind, please subscribe if you have not already done so. No commitment. You're not going to get emails, phone calls, not going to cost you any money. You're not going to get a bill. Just hit the subscribe button. It would mean a lot to me. All right. I think you're delusional. Delusional. So I give it a big fat W on the offseason so far. Okay. Average Barnes, you're delusional. Go root for another team. Niner would. Go root for another team. There's a team to the west you can root for. They're called the Golden State Warriors. Go root for them. Good point by Anita. I'm surprised by how many players that did re-sign with their teams, many on team-friendly deals, show team and players maybe favor and chemistry. Maybe, but I think also, Anita, we are looking at big dollars. And the reality is that existing teams can pay more to keep their own free agents. So that's part of it as well. All right, Nina, what I got you wrong there, my friend. I like that. My bad. I like that. Kings fan till you die. I like to hear that. Be a little more optimistic, would you please? All right. Be a little bit more optimistic. Yeah, well, I told you this was going to happen. I told you this was going to happen the day after they signed Buck and then Aikman. I told you this day was coming. Okay. And I've said it in years past too. I have said it in years past too. I told you this day was coming. I told you and I knew it. And there was no doubt. No doubt. Well, I would agree with you, Michael, about the team chemistry. Okay. And I would agree with you that it's also a plus in bringing back Barnes and Lyles. And you're right. 2 years, 16 million. No options on that deal, by the way. It's just straight up 2 years, 16 million. I'm with you on that. I like that. All right, let me refresh this, see if anything's going on. You can help me, by the way, if anyone is, I'm trying to do a live show and keep my eye on all of the developments. So if something pops up that I missed, let me know. All right, because these things are coming fast and furious. I'm following as much as I can here. But I like, what I like about what the Kings are doing? Prudent. No panic. No, like you absolutely have to go for the gusto right now. You're building the team incrementally, a piece at a time. And I like what they're doing. All right. I absolutely like what's going on. I really do. I got no issues with it at all. All right. Again, your questions are welcome. Really appreciate having you here on the stream. I would agree with you. Trey Lyles did deserve it, Yeah. Win-win we got here. This is a great question. This is a great question. So there's no doubt that Sabonis is going to get a max deal. We know that. He's going to get a max deal. And as far as Malik Monk, I'm hearing Monk and just adjusting my chair here. His self-worth, I'm just telling you right now, what he thinks he's worth is higher than what the Kings are going to pay. So I'm hearing that from several people. Now, you don't have to worry about it this year, But the Kings may not be able to keep Malik Monk past this year. I mean, it's just the way it is. I mean, you can't pay everybody. And again, I don't want to jump ahead to 12 months because I don't like doing that because too many things can change. But, no, I don't see this. Alex Len, possibly. Terrence Davis, I would say little to no chance. All right? No question. Michael, what are you talking about? Pick up the intensity? Come on, Michael. Stop it with the sports cliche nonsense. What do you think's next? What realistically can the Kings do? What realistically can the Kings do? All right, they've spent a lot of their money now. And again, the Chris Duarte is not official as I'm looking on all of my timelines. But Herbert Jones is no longer available, Sea-Dog and Cody. 4 years, $54 million to stay with the Pelicans. So there's another guy, Sea-Dog and Cody, you can cross off your list. I do think that Van Vliet gets done today. I absolutely do. And I agree with you, but I'm hearing that Milwaukee's going to keep Brook Lopez. We'll see. All right? We'll see. So again, Herbert Jones, 4 years, $54 million to stay in New Orleans. Another big off the board. All right? And yes, I'm hearing that Brook Lopez is staying in Milwaukee. I don't think he's available. There aren't a lot of bigs that are available. All right? So I don't think Thomas Bryant, could you trade for a big? Okay, yes, you can. Now you have a surplus of wing players, especially if you go out and sign Sasha. Could you go out and trade for a big? The question is what name? And we'll go there. I'm not familiar with Milwaukee's situation, but their plan going into this offseason, Sea-Dog, was to keep both those guys. All right? To keep those guys. So I guess time will tell, right? I guess time will tell. Yes and no. This is a great question. Okay? How do you address that? In other words, there aren't a lot of standout defensive players in the league. How do you go out and address that and not change the identity of your team? All right? How do you address that? So it's a good question because I would agree with you that the Kings defensively have not gotten better with the moves they've made. Okay? Sea-Dog says, I heard the Clips are keeping Plumlee and looking to trade Zubac. I would love to have Zubac. He'd be perfect for the Kings. All right? I don't think so in this one. There's a reason why Mo Bamba can't stay with a team. I don't think so. But I would agree with you. Plumlee would be great, but I doubt they can get him too. So again, we talk about the latest signing of Herbert Jones on a 4-year, $54 million deal. All right, this is a very good question. How do you address the defense? You have to accept the facts. Every team has an identity. And the identity of the Sacramento Kings is the ball is going to go up in the air and we're going to outscore you. And we're going to outscore you every night. And that's how we're going to win our 50-plus games. We're not going to be able to stop you, but you're not going to be able to stop us. And I hate to say that, but that's where we're at. I'm very happy about Harrison Barnes being retained. I think it's a very wise move. I think it is exactly what the Kings needed to do. And I'm happy with him. By the way, for the record, I told you a week ago that the sides were talking and there was great interest to get the deal down. All right? Very true. It's exactly what Mike Brown's been doing. He knows what he has. He knows what he doesn't have. And that's where we're at. Well, you'd have to be more specific. What kind of trade? Come on. Got to be a little more specific than that. All right, I'm looking at the latest news. I don't know about that. I don't care what the numbers say. My eyeball test said that wasn't really true. But the other issue is, will they be able to lure Sasha over? And if so, then all of a sudden, how many guys is Mike Brown going to be playing every game? Right? I mean, if you look at the starting 5 or the top 8 players, now all of a sudden, you're going to Mike Brown will play 10 guys, but you normally win and lose with your top 8. So, keep that in mind as well. Great to have you here on the stream. What a busy, busy Friday with NBA free agency. And of course, the layoffs at ESPN. This is not atypical. It's not abnormal. It's the way the game works. Teams don't get better by losing good players. And so I'm not that surprised by this. I'm not that surprised. I'm really not. Monty McNair's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. He's putting together a winning team. That's his job, and he's doing that. Okay? Yes, they do sell gift cards. You can get it online. You can go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com, or you can get it right at one of their restaurants. But yes, they do sell gift cards. All right. Again, appreciate everyone joining us. Speaking of Bennett's, great place for your weekend brunch. Don't forget about their prime rib that is featured on the weekends. Prime seafood and steaks at Bennett's, Roseville, Sacramento, and soon coming to Rockland. I was just out there last weekend at the Blue Oaks Town Center with Brian Bennett. He gave me a tour of this new restaurant. It's going to be phenomenal when it opens. It's all there for you at Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Gift cards, menu, everything else. Again, Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Prime seafood and steak. So glad that everybody is with us here on this Friday. And if anything were to happen major with Sacramento over the weekend, I'll schedule the show and I'll come on with you right here on YouTube and on Periscope. So we'll do it. Okay. Just understand, if the Kings make a move that I think you all would want to converse about, I'll come on. All right. I don't think that the Suns are going to trade DeAndre Ayton, Mark. I don't. They got a new coach now. I think, he had issues with Monty Williams. I don't think the Suns get better by trading Ayton. But the question is, are you going to have an engaged Ayton, or is it going to be moping again? All right. What do you think? You do, Paul. You definitely need a backup. You need a backup 5. You need a backup big. Okay. How about like 0? I didn't attend any games. Why did you ask me that question? I'm just curious. All right. Am I still the voice of the Kings? No, Gary Gerould is your voice of the Kings, the great Gary Gerould. Happy to say that he is still your voice of the Sacramento Kings. Okay? How's that for you? Who is the Kings' third point guard? Well, I mean, I would think they don't really have a third point guard right now. And I think that's the problem. I'm not so sure they have a second point guard. I really don't. And I'm not ragging on Davion Mitchell. I'm not. I just don't think he's a starting type of a point guard. That's where I'm at. I just don't see that. I don't see it. All right. All right. Again, keep them coming with your messages via the chat line. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate all of the support, Paul, of people here on the stream. It means a lot to me. All right. Here's this one. Is ESPN current business model now outdated with people cutting the cord to cable and not making it up with the streaming? I don't know what their business model is, but I know that the people that make the hiring decisions are idiots. Okay. And I said this the day that it happened. When you pay two announcers to announce Monday Night Football, okay, and you're paying them roughly a total of $2 million per game, you're announcers, you're making a bad business decision. Because people are going to tune in to watch Monday Night Football, whether I'm announcing a game or whether Joe Buck's announcing a game. Okay. And that's just the way it is. It's a bad business decision. And then they go out and pay Pat McAfee a boatload of money. Now, with Pat McAfee, it makes sense to me, and I'll tell you why. He's on daily. Okay. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are doing 16 games a year or 18. And you're paying them $2 million combined a game? Stupidity, bad business. And what happens when you pay them that kind of money? You don't have the money left over to pay other people. And so you have to fire people, both whom you know and behind the scenes, such as producers, camera operators, technicians that you don't know. All right? The way you have it. All right. Again, if you want to get in on the topic, all you have to do. So I would just say that so far I like what the Kings have done. And I think there's a little bit more still to come. All right. I don't think that ESPN is on life support. I don't know if I would go that far. They've got, billion-dollar deals with their partners. So, I used to work with Bill Walton, and I used to talk to Ralph Lawler every time the Kings and the Clippers played, and used to have Ralph on my show quite a bit. I did probably 40 games with Bill Walton over 2 seasons. Bill's a piece of work, Love Bill Walton. Great guy to talk to. Great guy to be around. The last time I saw Bill was outside the locker room before a game at Madison Square Garden when Luke was coaching the Kings. And I see Bill, and he extends his hand and he goes, "Bill Walton, how are you?" "Bill, how the hell are you doing, buddy?" And goes, "Grant, I want you to meet, this is the drummer of the Grateful Dead." Bill's been to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Dead concerts. And that's the last time I actually talked to Bill face to face outside the locker room at Madison Square Garden. Bill's a piece of work. He really is. Piece of work. Love him. All right. What do you think? All right. Was that 2012? Wow. Man. Is that right? Man. 2012. Was it that long ago? Man, time flies. Time flies. All right. Hit me up with your messages. Also, if you are joining here for the first time or one of the few times, please subscribe if you have not already done so. It would mean a lot to me. You don't have to pay anything. Don't worry about getting emails. Not just hit the subscribe button. That way, whenever I do a show, maybe this weekend, do a spontaneous show, you are aware of it. You get the little notification. Hit the subscribe button. Also, if you like the content, please give me a thumbs up. All right. Well, let me explain something to you. Okay. This is an interesting question, David. When you are in this business, if people are talking about you, that's a good thing. If there are people that are trashing you, it is generally because they're jealous of you and they don't understand why you are so successful and they're not. I have found that the people that are mean, critical, They're jealous of your success. That's what I have found. But here's what I do know. If you're in this business and no one's talking about you, you're not doing a very good job. So the name of the game in this business is to stay relevant and be talked about. Now, would I like people to say good things about me as opposed to bad things? Yeah. You know why? Because I'm a human being. That's why. People always don't understand this. You're a human being. You have feelings. You have emotions, just like everybody else. But you also have to understand that in the world of social media, there are trolls. And they are trying to get a response from you. And generally speaking, they'll have a better chance of getting a response from you if they rip you, if they say something negative about you. And I always used to have this conversation early on in my marriage because my wife didn't understand the criticism. And she said, I don't understand how it doesn't even bother you. And I said, well, if it bothered you, you would be consumed by it. And your quality of life would not be very good because you'd be worried about that. All right, I'll get to this right here. I'm not really sure who you're referring to. Okay? As far as me being rude, if you're talking about Damian Barling, let me share with you how rude I was to this individual. First of all, I did not agree with the content that he had on his radio show. I didn't have any problem with it. I didn't like it. I didn't fit in with what we were about at 1140. I never ever made it personal. Okay? So if you think that I was rude, I walked up to him before my show one day and I said, hey, I'm just letting you know that Jerry is leaving. And I don't know if he's still married to Kara Lawson, but Kara Lawson was his wife and she was doing work at ESPN. And I went up to him, I said, hey, listen, I go, there may be an opportunity, no one knows this yet, for Kara to throw her hat into the ring because Jerry is going to be retiring. And he goes, really? And I said, yes. And I said, if you need any help, let me know. I go, I know that the Kings know who Kara is, but I go, I'm a big fan of hers. And he said, hey, man, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. I said, no problem. Then a couple of months later, he came up to me and said, hey, can you do me a favor? I go, sure. What's that? He said, we're having a fundraiser for Pat Summit and we're encouraging, would you mind, saying a couple of words, or I can't remember what it was. I say, whatever you need me to do, I'm happy to do it. Okay. I will also ask somebody with the balls to call up him. Okay. To call up him on his radio show and ask him, what has he done for the Black community in Sacramento? Someone with the balls, call up and ask Damian Barling, hey, what have you done to make your community better? Ask the question. Because when somebody calls me up and asks me what I've done to make the community better, I have an easy answer. I put over 100 at-need, underprivileged students in college. And my foundation, the Future Foundation, we mentored our students beginning in 10th grade. Okay? 1/3 of our students were Black. Most of our students were minorities, Black, Hispanic, okay? The minority in my foundation were white students, okay? So I made the community that I lived in better by volunteering, not making a dime, by working on a foundation, by hosting an annual golf tournament, which required a hell of a lot of work each year to put kids through college. Okay? So, the proof is in the pudding. People can talk all they want, right? At the end of the day, facts speak louder than words. Actions speak louder than words. So there you have it. Okay. If you want to talk, go ahead and talk. All right. If that's something that really interests you, if you want to just talk, yap, 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 go ahead. Yap, 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 yap. But when it comes time to play scoreboard, all right, scoreboard is where I'm at. Okay? Scoreboard. What have you done to make your community better? There you have. Don't even worry about it. You know what? I'm not going to call him a punk. I'm just going to call him, I think he is a bigot, which is a term that I don't use carelessly or loosely. I think the guy's a bigot. For whatever reason, he has a problem with me. And yet, despite all the things that he says about me, last year, I'm on the golf course and I get a text message from him inviting me to come on a show. And I said, sure, I'll come on. And he said, well, I'm just going to let you know you're probably not going to like the questions I asked you. And I responded back, I go, you can ask me anything you want. And then I get another text message. Oh, I've thought about it. I'm not going to have you on my show, but thank you anyway. Okay. And then he sent me a message and he said, what you did to DeMarcus Cousins was absolutely awful. Said, what did I do? He said, with your response to your tweet. And I said, you don't believe that all lives matter, every single one? And I never got a response back. So there you have it. No problem, David. I'm the one thing about me, I'm transparent and I don't lie. Okay? I don't lie. And I will tell you without any shadow of a doubt that I have done more for minorities and Black people than he has by a country mile. Okay? So I'm happy to put it all out there. Okay? I'm happy to put it all out there. I was criticized for putting out a tweet when I said I have more Black friends than white friends. I was criticized as being, that's a racist comment. Well, if you looked at my phone and you looked at all of the pictures of me with my friends, you would find that most of my pictures with my friends are with my Black friends. Okay? And that's just the reality of the situation. That's a fact. I don't judge my friends by the color of their skin. I don't really care. I've been very open about this. I don't care if you're Muslim, Catholic, Jewish, Protestant. I don't care if you're white or you're Black or you're Asian or Hispanic. I don't care if you're gay or you're lesbian. I don't care if you're transgender. I don't care about any of that. You have one life. What I care about is, are you a good person or not? And if you're a good person, you're in my circle. And if you're not a good person, you're out of my circle. It's as simple as that. So you can ask me anything you want. That's why it's called open forum Q&A. And I'll answer the questions with full transparency and full honesty. And if I can't answer your question, I will say, you know what? I can't answer that. I'll be very honest with you. I'll say, I'm sorry, I can't answer that. So I'm an open book. Okay. There are too many people that hide behind their nonsense and their stupidity and their criticism. If I criticize you, I give you a reason why I'm criticizing you. Okay. And I tell you why I'm criticizing you. I've been very critical of many people, and I tell you why I'm critical of them. I don't just call someone a name and not tell you why. So there you go. Well, you are who you are. Okay? You are who you are. And I don't agree with that at all. You can't be too open-minded and honest and go to sleep at night if you're not. So there you have it. Hey, Michael, this is an open forum Q&A, and I'm answering a question. Okay? I've been on the air now for 35 minutes. I've talked about this for what, 7 minutes, 8 minutes? Everything else has been about sports. Is that okay with you? Or you can send me a DM and apply to be my producer. I don't have a producer, but I would like to have one. So feel free to drop me an email. Let me show you what my email address is. All right. Send me an email. Let me see if I can find that right here. Drop me an email, Michael, at gnapier@gmail.com. That's gnapier@gmail.com. And maybe you can be my producer. How's that for you? All right, latest news. Michael, this is just for you. The latest big development, NBA free agency, Herbert Jones with a $54 million deal. That was a little less than an hour ago to stay in New Orleans. All right, there you have it. Well, good. Diversity is great, all parts of the world. And that's why I love traveling so much. You know, I love meeting so many phenomenal people. Yeah, of course I saw Thurman Munson play. Huge fan of Thurman, and I'll never forget when I found out he died in the summer when I was in college, and I was actually on the phone with my girlfriend. I heard about the news, and it was one sad day. And Thurman Munson dying, trying to learn how to fly his jet, landing in the airport in Akron, Ohio. Yeah, I would agree with you about that. You know, as far as how does Kendrick Perkins still have a job, I don't know. I was surprised by that too. All right, I was surprised by that too. I really was. All right, hit me up with your questions. So happy to have you here on the stream. And if something big happens this weekend, I'll jump on. You know, thank you very much, Sea Dog. I didn't see that. Rui Hachimura, 3 years, $51 million. Good job there. Good job there, Connor. Keep me up on date on this. So there's another player off the board in Rui Hachimura. 3 years, $51 million. Wow. You know, that's a great point. 3 years, $54 million does look a lot better for Harrison Barnes. I think you're spot on. That's a good job by you. Absolutely. You know? No, I was not at the Red Yankees World Series in 1976. The Yankees got swept, and one of the toughest days of my life, my first football game, my senior year in high school, not my first game, but we had a game. We didn't play on Friday nights. We played on Saturday afternoons. And when the Yankees played the Cincinnati Reds, Don Gullett pitched game one for the Reds. And I couldn't watch the game because we had a high school football game. And I was just like, remember when they used to play the World Series during the day on the weekends? And I was a wreck that day, an absolute wreck. And then, of course, Gullett shuts out the Yankees, and the Yankees get swept by the Big Red Machine. And then, of course, they went on and won the World Series the following year in 77 and the 78 against the Dodgers. All right. You know what, Cody? I haven't looked at the numbers, but that's interesting. Very interesting. I did not know that. If he's healthy, I think that I think it could be a really good signing. Jay, appreciate the support. You know, again, someone needs to call him up and ask him what he's done to make the community better. And then, you know, maybe bring up what I've done for the community, and then, you know, go on the air. Do you know how awful it is to go on the air and call someone a racist? Do you realize how awful that is? Seriously. I mean, think about that for a minute. Wow. Incredible. Yeah, you know what? I'll come on if Brooke Lopez signs with Sacramento. Absolutely. Yeah, Sea-Dog told me that a couple days ago. Absolutely. I did go crazy. I remember when Chambliss hit the home run, I was in my house with my brother watching a game, and I remember hearing fireworks go off all over the neighborhood. Yeah, that was, I'll never forget that. Absolutely. So there you have it. Rui Hachimura, 3-year deal with the Lakers. What do you think? You think the Kings are going to be able to sign a big? What do you think? You think that's next on the list? You think it's realistic? You know, what do you think? All right. Brooke Lopez is old. Yeah. Yeah, he is. But he had a hell of a year, and he knows how to play the game. He's probably got one pretty good year left. He is still pretty good. He is still pretty good. So Rui Hachimura off the board with the Lakers. And I guess the next real big name, correct me if I'm wrong here, is Fred VanVleet, you know? John, who are you talking about? 3 years to 2 years. You're talking about Rui Hachimura 3 years. All right. So we'll see. You could get somebody at the trade deadline. That's a possibility. You know, that is a possibility. I love doing this, man. These shows are great when everything's happening. Free agency just coming at you quickly, and I think the next Pascal Siakam Paul is, I was surprised to see the money that Pirtle got. I think it's incredible. You know, I think it's incredible. Well, thank you very much for your support, and I also want to thank New Works Plumbing of Sacramento. They're awesome. If you have any plumbing needs or repairs, just go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen. New Works Plumbing, they've got a fix for you. Again, sackserviceplumbing.com for New Works Plumbing. All right, so here's the deal. If there are big moves with the Sacramento Kings, then I'll do a special show, and it could be at any time. So subscribe to the channel. That way you'll know exactly what I'm coming on, because I may just say, hey, I'm coming on in 10 minutes to do a special show. All right. And then we're able to do it. No, thank you. Thank to everyone else out there. But I'm with you. I will do a show at a moment's notice. Okay. I really do. I'll do a show at a moment's notice. I think this is a special weekend, special weekend. I guess, someone asked me on the last show I did, the one deal that surprised me, and I think Anita said this earlier today on the stream, is Jeremy Grant getting $160 million. Wow. How about that? Pretty amazing, huh? 160, 5 years for Jeremy Grant. All right. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. You're going to work for me? All right. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. Smart move. Come work for me. We'll have a good time. We'll partner. We'll take this thing over the top. All right. I think they may have overpaid for Middleton too, but he's a big part of their success, Cody. A big part of their success. All right. The George Brett Pine Tar incident. One of the craziest things that's ever happened in the history of Major League Baseball. So again, keep it right here. I will join you when something breaks. All right. And it seems like there's movement happening all of the time. All right. So we're going to keep you up to date. Grant, I came to the U.S. in 96, was a huge soccer fan, never watched basketball, started watching Kings, and you were the highlight of all those years. Truly miss you calling the games. Thank you very much. Where'd you move from when you came over to the States in 96? Sea-Dog, you're on top of it, buddy. 3 years, $130 million with the Rockets. All right, so let me ask you, Sea-Dog, do you think Houston can be a playoff team this year? All right, they've got a lot of young pieces. Had they grown up enough to make it happen? All right, the Miami Heat are signing Josh Richardson and re-signing Kevin Love, so that's another move. All right, so if that happens, Sea-Dog, that's a lot of money. What do you think? Thank you, Anita, as well. I appreciate everyone helping me here on this live stream. Do you think the Rockets can be a team this year? All right. What do you think? Do you think it can be that way? Do you think the Rockets can be a playoff team? All right. What do you mean this subscribe button is not working for you? I don't understand that. Help me out. Can someone help him out on that? Why would the subscribe button not work. By the way, I do send out everything on social media. Do you follow me on social media at Grant Napier Show? That's Twitter. I put it out every day on my Twitter page. All right. And why would you not be able to subscribe? Can someone help him out with that? I mean, what would be the answer for that? Well, I mean, who would the Rockets replace in the playoffs? I don't know. Look at what the Kings did last year. So, absolutely. All right, you got to put your notifications on. Is that what you're saying that he needs to do? Put your notifications on? All right. Maybe because he's already subscribed. Maybe. All right. Hit the, all right, here you go. It says hit the ball icon for notifications, and then you'll be able to subscribe. Thank you for all your help on that. All right. You know, Anita, I think they're a year away. I think that they're a year away. Absolutely. All right. The subscribe button requires an account. So you have to have like an official YouTube account. Is that what you're saying? You can update Google, hit the ball. There you have it. John says restart your phone and you will get all the updates. Thanks for all the help on this. But again, I really appreciate all of you that have taken the time to subscribe. And I really want to build this up. All right. I want to, because next year, Ryan and I are going to be doing a ton of Kings content right here. I want to get many, many more subscribers, and we can really make this thing, we can go interactive. We can do a lot of different things. All right. All right. We got a lot of things. Disable ad blocker, refresh the page too. We got agree with John. There you have it. See, I asked for help and I get help. I love you all. You're freaking great. All right. What can Kevin Huerter do to be more effective? I think it needs to be more consistent. And I thought his playoff performance was terrible. So I think that is definitely something for sure. Absolutely. We'll see. All right. So here's the deal. This weekend, just be looking for notifications. If something big happens with Sacramento, I'll come on and I'll do a show and we can talk about it. Okay. All right. You know what, Cody? I don't think you need Huerter to improve. I think you need him to play the way he is capable of playing on a more consistent basis, because we've seen him play very, very well. We know he can do it. I think it just needs to be a little more consistent. But I understand where you're coming from. I really do. I understand where you're coming from. All right. So this weekend, right here, if something big happens, we'll do it. I appreciate it. By the way, very quiet today. No meowing. Don't have to let you out. See, I got the cat trained already. It only took me a week. You know? You're right, John. We are one, buddy. I love that. Exactly. You all are freaking awesome. Thank you very much. Been fun. I had a good show on Listen App. And here we are over on YouTube doing the same thing. Let me just look for one more update here. I want to look at one other thing. But this is, how about the money in the NBA free agency, huh? Man. Thank you, Steven. Appreciate that. Appreciate that very much. So, man, I'm just amazed at the first couple of hours of NBA free agency. Good stuff right there. How about that? What is it? $43.5 million a year for VanVleet. Well, I guess he made the right decision to opt out, huh? Was the cat the star of the show? Now I can't get the cat to move. Taking a nap. Wake up. Doesn't even look at me. What can I tell you? You know? What can I tell you? Hey, thanks very much, everybody. All right. Thank you for your support. Niner Wood, I like that. You're a Kings fan until you die, buddy. That's a good response. I like that. You won me over, my man. You won me over. You won me over. I like that response. I was wrong about you, my friend. You proved me wrong. I like that. All right. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. And it's all good. Thank you. Yeah, it's a good fun. De'Aaron Fox Max Steele looking like a steal. That's what happens with the NBA salary cap. That's exactly right. Oh, how things change in a year. Hey, think about this. I did a podcast on this today. Think back to June 30th of 2022. Many people thought Kings non-playoff team. Nobody wants to play there. Oh, geez. Going to be another long year. They don't have this. They don't have that. Third seed in the West. Thrilling playoff series against the Warriors. Now, all of a sudden, they're clearly on their way. They got a very good team, an exciting team. How about these 12 months, huh? Pretty amazing. Pretty amazing indeed. Great. All right. Hey, you all take care. Thank you so much for being right here. Don't forget, if anything big happens this weekend, I'll be right here on If You Don't Like That. Have a great weekend, everybody.